This lesson is about the experience of being numb and feeling stuck, what it's like from the inside, why it happens, and how to gently reconnect. I'll start by telling you a story about myself and how I overcame a stuck place within myself. When I was about 20, apprenticing with a healer, I was going through a lot and longing to explore the deeper parts of myself. I was fortunate to find a personal growth program that worked for me and started the 2-year program. One evening, we were practicing building connection and using the word namaste as an anchor. Namaste is a Sanskrit greeting. It means roughly, I bow to the place in you that is one with the place in me. In our group, we were to look into each other's eyes and speak the full sentence. It sounded scary, but I was up for it. In the first round, I received the other person's words. And when I went to say mine, it was as if someone had poured cement down my throat. Nothing came out. I stood there with my mouth open, trying to make a sound for a minute or two, when finally I was pulled aside by one of the more advanced apprentices. He had me write the sentence on a whiteboard, then read it. I couldn't. So he took me to the very first sound, the sound of I. I couldn't get that single sound out. Then he asked me to close my mouth and try again, just saying ah and sliding into I. I was able to do that, and then finally speak the whole sentence. I bow down to the place in you and the place in me that is one. We looked into each other's eyes and said it. What happened next felt like a hatch opening. A flow of energy moved through me. Something inside stopped being numb and stopped being stuck. It unplugged, opened, and a joyful force rushed in. From spirit, soul, inner voice, from higher self, whatever you want to call it, it filled me. It was a distinct moment of reconnecting to something within that I hadn't been able to feel before. A reconnection to a part of me that had been numb. Almost everybody has moments of experiencing numbness and stuckness. For some people, like it was for me, it might be chronic, caused by early childhood experiences that taught them that the world isn't safe, or that it's not safe to express certain parts of themselves. Experience that left an ongoing imprint of fear. Other times, feeling numb is acute. It happens in the moment when something traumatic or difficult happens and the immediate emotions are overwhelming. For example, a near miss with a bus, a death or major illness in the family, someone breaking up with you, or other frightening news can cause you to become numb as a protection in the moment. Your system slams on the brakes and pulls you out of full awareness for a little bit to help you cope and survive the moment. With both types of numbness, the path forward is similar. You gradually allow yourself to feel what happened, to grieve what needs grieving, and to tell a more true story about your life, and sometimes about life itself. See, we remain stuck and numb when we refuse to acknowledge the truth of something. It could be an event, an insight, or even a calling from within yourself for change. It's essentially the consequence of being stuck in denial and refusing to go through the process of grief, which is a process of change. So your mind, to varying degrees, detaches from the body and emotions to allow you to at least survive, even if you don't thrive. If the events that took place in your life were traumatic and you didn't cope at the time, dissociation can persist and PTSD-like symptoms may emerge, ranging from mild depression to self-harm or rage and even tendency toward violence, as a means of protection. When the fear isn't allowed to move through you and the mind can't make sense of the events, the nervous system protective shutdown continues. As you've seen throughout this course, every emotion carries a story, your interpretation of what just happened. Here are some of the most common stories that can freeze us in numbness and stuckness. If I feel this, it will destroy me. This belief causes a kind of ongoing dread that keeps you frozen. No one wants the real me. Usually this is a childhood-based belief that formed as a result of being punished for just being who you really are. Nothing I do will change anything. This is a belief that's usually created in a moment of feeling helpless. If I slow down, I'll fall apart. This is a belief that's often formed when you're carrying grief and are afraid to face the reality of loss. Anger is the only way they'll hear me. This is a belief that's usually formed in early childhood if your parents and caregivers only came to help you after crying for long periods or throwing a tantrum. My body isn't a safe place to live. A belief usually formed after some kind of assault or other physical trauma. Naming the story doesn't fix everything, but it opens a door. Once you see the narrative, you can begin to breathe with it, grieve what needs grieving, and write a truer chapter about who you are now and how you want to live. Rewriting the story of an event helps you face the deeper fear, which is the core cause of feeling numb or stuck. It's essentially a full-body reaction to a deep panic, one where instead of fighting or fleeing, you've frozen, which is actually a kind of flight when you think about it, fleeing from your own body so you don't experience the shock. When people get stuck in this kind of numbness, it's a big problem. Some feel so disconnected, they hurt themselves just to feel their bodies. Others, overwhelmed by internalized pain, act out in violence. For others, it's the root of serious addictions to drugs, alcohol, gambling, food, or sex. Yet for most people, this internalized numbness shows up in quieter ways. Doom scrolling, indifference, compulsive TV watching, or other forms of zoning out to dull the pain we feel, just from daily life sometimes. Isolation and loneliness, for example, are a huge part of modern Western culture. It's a pain many people carry and often feel helpless to overcome. Over time, it becomes overwhelming, and rather than sit with the depression of it and seek out the internal locus of control to act from, we numb out with substances or distractions. We all long for safety, for connection, and for belonging. It's human nature. When we don't have it, our systems become overwhelmed with anxiety and we make ourselves numb in order to cope. But this numbness becomes stuckness. It dulls our wits, disconnects us from intuition and creativity, and worse still, it disconnects us from each other even more because on some level, we may have learned not to trust people. This disconnection can become a downward spiral into aloneness and darkness. So what's the solution to feeling numb and stuck? Fundamentally, the solution is in learning to feel grief and sadness without negative self-talk. This involves looking at our past and allowing ourselves to feel sad about things that have happened without condemning ourselves or others or seeking revenge. For some people, the past may be too traumatic to deal with alone, and a professional therapist should be consulted. For others, the pain may be less but still significant enough to cause disconnection within. A disconnection that comes from early childhood messages that we can't be our authentic selves or that our basic needs aren't going to be met. Or it could simply be caused by modern-day isolationist culture. In general, I would say that 100% of people on the planet right now, and probably since time immemorial, suffer from at least a little bit of this kind of numbness, to one degree or another. The key understanding about numbness is that at its core, it's a disconnect from the body. It's also the psyche's emergency brake, the inability to feel because letting feelings in right now seems like it would feel overwhelming to you. It might make you lose it or unleash emotions you can't control. So in a sense, numbness is a fear of losing control. It often develops in response to earlier moments, recent or long ago, when control was taken away from you, or someone had power over you and forced you to be or do something you didn't want to do. A simple practice that helps is body awareness. Instead of covering up numbness with big emotions, distractions, or substances, you can relearn to be attentive to the small sensations of your body and gradually release the tension it holds. So the antidote to needing intense feelings is to return to a peaceful, steady consciousness where simple awareness of the subtle sensations of the self nourish your connection to life. There are two simple practices for body awareness that I'll outline in a moment. The first is called Anapana, and the second is known as vipassana. Both bring attention back to the body in different ways. Anapana is also known as breath awareness. You can do it as a 2 to 5 minute practice if you don't have a lot of time, or really whenever you feel it's needed. In this practice, you sit upright and relax for a moment. You feel your feet grounded or legs comfortably crossed and rest your hands on your thighs. After a moment, you place your attention at the small triangle between the nostrils and the upper lip. You breathe naturally and feel the subtle sensations of your breath, cooler on the inhale, warmer on the exhale. All the while focusing right here. When the mind wanders, you can simply notice, I'm thinking, and return your attention to the breath at the nostrils without judgment. And if you do judge yourself, don't judge your judgment of yourself. Let it go. If it's helpful, softly count exhales from 1 to 10 or a different comfortable number, and then begin again. You can drop counting when your attention stabilizes. Keep the breath gentle and natural for as long as you want to do the practice. If any emotions or thoughts arise, simply observe them while maintaining focus on that space between your upper lip and nostrils. The second practice is called vipassana, and it's a body sensation awareness practice. Again, you can practice for a few minutes alone, but also whenever you want, at the office, on a crowded subway, or in a meeting, to help you settle your nervous system. In this practice, keep a simple, grounded posture. Let your eyes be closed if you can, and if you're able, relax the jaw and leave it unclenched. When ready, start to sweep your attention through the body, region by region. Start with the crown of your head, and then move your awareness on your face, throat, shoulders, arms, hands, chest, back, abdomen, pelvis, legs, feet, and toes. Move at a slower pace, of course, something that's natural for you. At each spot, notice whatever is present. It could be pressure, tingling, temperature, pulsing, itch, ache, or even numbness. Simply notice and then move on to the next place in your body. Practice simple observation. Don't chase pleasant or resist unpleasant. Simply note what your sensation is, breathe, and continue. Continue to move systematically from head to toe, then toe back to head. If you meet a blank or numb area, you can rest there kindly for a few breaths. You can even imagine the breath bathing that area and then continue the sweep. When you're ready to close, make yourself aware of your whole body at the same time for a few breaths. Then open your eyes slowly and gradually move on with your day. Of course, you can practice with your eyes open, as I said, on a subway, in a meeting. It helps to ground and make you aware of yourself, your body, and your mind. Now, if you practice body awareness of this kind and agitation or emotion spikes, shorten the scan and return to breath awareness for a minute. If sleepiness arrives, you can sit taller, peek your eyes open, or stand for 2 breaths. You can also simply let the sleep overtake you. It may be exactly what you need in the moment. You might find that it's the best sleep you've ever had. If you can stay with these practices, a natural peace arises, awareness opens, and a subtle interplay with the world returns. You will discover what lies beneath the coarseness of modern media and the coarseness of our self-medications and constant stimulation. We often feel numb because we're taking in too much, too fast. Numbness becomes a defense against the overload. Quieting the mind and softly feeling the body, this is what breathes life back into us and lets us sense the world's subtlety again. Every meaningful change is a kind of death and a kind of birth. Healing numbness often means letting an old version of you die. Not physically, of course, but in the story you hold about who you are. When something big happens, the map you've used to navigate the world no longer fits. To make sense of life again, the map has to change, because beliefs are woven into our identity. So revising them can feel like a small death. The self you knew dissolves, so a truer self can appear. One thing that helps is ritual. Ritual helps the psyche move. You might hold a brief funeral for the parts of you that protected you. Write them a letter, thank them for keeping you safe, and lay them to rest, or burn the letter. You can then invite a kind of resurrection. You can plant the letter underneath a new tree in your backyard. This represents a conscious return of vitality where something once felt buried or repressed. You can name the qualities you welcome back. Your voice, your play, trust, creativity, courage, whatever's right for you. You can choose one small action today that embodies the new story after you do that. In shamanic traditions, the experience of disconnection from the body and feeling numb is sometimes described as soul loss, a temporary fragmentation or hiding of vital essence after shock, grief, trauma, or long stress. People describe it as feeling not myself, emotionally flat, far from joy, or as if parts of memory and aliveness have gone offline. Soul retrieval is the ceremonial process of welcoming those parts back. Traditionally, a shamanic practitioner psychically journeys through prayer, drumming, and vision to find and return the lost pieces. In modern, trauma-informed practice, you can also invite those lost fragments of soul home through guided visualization and simple ritual. Think of it as a sacred way of saying, what stepped away for safety can return now that safety is present. To do a simple soul retrieval visualization on your own, set aside time and space alone, possibly with an altar or symbolic anchor such as a candle, a stone, or a photo. Start as before with body awareness, deeper breathing, and sensing the body as one living, breathing organism. If you choose, you can set a clear intention and speak it out loud in your own words. The call is to invite any missing soul fragments back into your body. Here is a step-by-step visualization you can practice. First, prepare the space. Sit or lie where you feel safe. If you choose, light a candle or hold a small object such as a symbolic stone or photo, something that symbolizes your wholeness. Set an intention. Silently name what you're inviting back. Presence, creativity, play, courage, trust. Maybe it's a younger version of yourself. Whatever is right for you. Next, anchor the breath. Take 3 slower cycles of breathing into your belly with a slightly longer exhale. Next, shift to whole body awareness. Feel the outline, weight, and temperature of your entire body at once. From there, start to visualize the fragments of yourself. See them as pieces of yourself that are outside of you, as little balls of light. You might see them left in childhood places, old homes or classrooms. You might see them somewhere more surprising or even funny, like your local grocery store. You may want to visualize them above your head or just outside your body, wherever you are. Trust what you see and move with the practice. Next, with your eyes closed, whisper to these balls of light. If and only when you feel safe, you are welcome to return home. As your next step unfolds, on each inhale, imagine the light drawing closer. As the next step unfolds, on each inhale, imagine the little balls of light drawing closer. On each exhale, imagine your body making room for its missing pieces of light. Let the balls of light move at their own pace, reminding yourself that it may take more than one practice for these fragments to reintegrate. As you experience the reunification, let the lights enter through your heart, your crown, or breath. Feel them settle into your chest, belly, pelvis, and limbs, wherever it feels most natural. You can even place your hands on your heart and say, "Welcome home." When you feel the practice is finished for now, sit or lay quietly for a while until you return to normal consciousness. You might notice warmth, tingling, emotion, or tears. Thank these parts of you and let them flow. To close, you'll want to ground and seal. Take one steady breath, stretch, open your eyes, drink water, and ideally take time to journal about your experience, anchoring it into the physical world. If at any moment during this practice you feel overwhelmed, open your eyes, look around the room, name the things that you see over and over again, and say your name until you feel more calm and grounded. After that, take a break from the practice if you need to. You can always come back to the practice later. And if the problem persists, please consult a professional therapist, as you may be facing traumatic memories, possibly ones you aren't even aware of. Before I close, here's the heart of this lesson in one breath. Numbness is the psyche's emergency brake and a temporary disconnect from the body. Overstimulation, old pain, or sudden shocks can pull you out of yourself, but gentle practices bring you back. You now have a map. Name the story, feel what's here, breathe with anapana, sense with vipassana, and then invite home the parts of yourself that went into hiding. Take one small step today, 3 slow breaths, 2 minutes of body awareness, 1 kind sentence in your journal. Keep choosing presence over numbness, and the path will keep opening. You are not broken. You are waking back up. And if you'd like support, reach out. I'm here to walk this path with you. Thank you for your courage and your heart. Good work. Now, let's focus on your homework. Try doing any of the following. Of course, practice the guided meditation for this lesson. It helps you internalize these concepts so they settle into your body and subconscious naturally, becoming instinctive rather than something you have to force. Do a daily 5-minute body scan. Close your eyes and sweep your attention through your body as described. Note one area that softens each time. Next, do a stimulation audit. List what you use for emotional spikes. Shows, news, scrolling, substances. Circle 1 to reduce by 10% this week and replace it with a quiet practice. Make a gentle joy list. Identify 5 subtle, non-spiky pleasures. Warm tea, sunlight on your skin, a slow walk, music without lyrics, stretching. Schedule at least 2 for this week. Next, create a 60-second grounding routine that combines any of the practices we've discussed. Use it twice a day. It can be at home, on the subway, at work, anywhere that you need it to be. At least once, try doing the visualization, calling back the little balls of light that are fragments of soul outside of your body. Invite them back in and see how that feels. Next, contemplate this journal prompt. When do I chase emotional spikes to feel alive? What quiet, steady feelings do I want to cultivate instead? Finally, reach out. Tell one trusted person about your practices and ask them to check in with you after 3 days and ask how it's going.